Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's our favorite day of the week.
It is. Mondays are just so fresh and exciting.
They are the best. And I've been super motivated
I love
today.
it.
I've gotten lots accomplished. I'm super proud of the presentation I'm going to be giving while covering this case. It may be the first one I just straight drop our intro and outro to and put it on YouTube tonight.
Do it.
You think
Oh
so?
my gosh. And then all of tonight. No, yes.
Tonight. Well, I'll edit it tonight and then it'll be out there Monday.
Yes. But yeah, then you guys can see the presentation that Whitney put together, and I am so excited to see it. Obviously, I haven't seen it yet because it's her week. I just already have questions based on the title page.
And now I'm like nervous that I've hyped it up too much and people are going to be like, that's a crappy presentation. And she's so excited about it. I don't give presentations for a living, guys. So I'm hyped about it. Okay?
Yes, I think it looks cute. And I am going to remove your pictures and use your same template.
Nice. Maybe I'll do that and I'll just add it into our folder so that you have access to it.
Yes, that'd be perfect because I can easily just take that picture out.
Yeah, replace the photos, change out the information. Okay, so announcements this week.
Yep, what do we got?
Actually, quite a few things. We have a collaboration that we've been waiting on and been very excited about for the last week and a half or so, maybe even 2 weeks at this point. I've lost count of days, but it is with Shane Waters from Foul Play. If you have not listened to that podcast, do it. He's a great guy. Good. We met him at Crime Con. He's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah, we met him at the first Crime Con when we did a virtual, what are they? Podcast row, virtual podcast. Yeah. He jumped into our booth, had no idea who he was at that point.
Yeah, and we were literally nobodies.
Yes, well, we still are, but
I mean, we're a little bit bigger nobodies, but we were like bigger. Dust on a nobody.
We had like started the podcast like a month before that. We didn't even know. We didn't even know what a podcast was.
I think we maybe had like 2 to 4 episodes out, like nothing. Yeah. He came into our booth and he talked to us for like 20 minutes. Like he took time out of his day. He chatted with us and like instantly we were hooked on his podcast just from his generosity of giving us the time of day.
And he's an amazing storyteller and has so many, his credentials are ridiculous, guys. Like he is legit. So check out Foul Play. He has a few other podcasts as well. If you're into history, I think it's Hometown History.
Yes.
Is the other one. Amazing podcast.
Also, if you have seen Netflix's The Keepers, he did some research. It's been a while since I've watched it. I don't remember if he was physically on the documentary or if he was just part of the research team of the documentary, but he had a hand in some of that research and that actual Netflix documentary. And I believe he has another one coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
I know they've recorded it because he was telling us about how at this past Crime Con in Austin, he was telling us about how he was standing there next to other people and he looked like Hagrid and Ron and Hermione. And of course, me being a Potterhead, I latched onto that reference real quick.
Died laughing. He's just a funny dude. So I'm so excited for all of you to hear that collab.
Yeah. Now, if you're a Patreon, you're going to get it on Friday. If you are not a patron, and that's the $5 and up patron, if you are not, you will not get it for another week. So if there was ever a time to jump on board, even at the $5 a month level,
bandwagon
level,
I don't know.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
If you want to jump on for as little as $5, I mean, I recommend the $20 a month, but you do you, boo boo.
Yeah.
Now is the time to do it so you can get that a week early because it's a good one. I had an entire bottle of wine during it. We had lots of laughs. It was great.
Yes. Amazing. And let's just throw out there are many other collabs scheduled for the next few months, which means our Patreon members will be getting that early as well. We've got some good ones in the works.
Yes. We've already have so many recorded, so many scheduled. It's going to be great. Yes. And Shane tells us about a cult. And cults are always people's favorites because there's just not a lot of information out there or not a lot of podcasts that are cult specific. So we do talk about a cult eventually in our little chit chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Also.
Yes. One other thing.
And this one's super exclusive.
It's not super exciting.
It is.
It's something new.
it's not just about Patreon, but it kind of ties back into Patreon. So if you've ever wondered what our cult member boxes were about, you wanted one, but you weren't quite sure you wanted to be, make that monthly subscription fee, commitment. That's the word I'm looking for, commitment.
Yes. I was like, I don't know. I can't think of any words.
Now is the time to tell your husband, your wife, your spouse, your loved one, mom, dad, whoever buys you Christmas presents, they need to pay attention, because on Friday we are releasing a subscription box promo. Now, you will get a year's worth of subscription box for one price. So they'll come once a quarter to you. They only have to pay at one time for the entire year, and you get surprised all year long. So remember to push it towards your family members. There's limited quantities available. Like, we're only releasing a very few amount of these extra boxes outside of our Patreon members. So be on the lookout for that, because the link won't last long.
You could always buy one for yourself as well.
Oh, also that.
It's been a hard year, guys. We deserve
treat yourself.
Self-love here.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
For sure. I just wanted to throw it out there that it's a great gift option as well.
Is.
And it's only going to be available for a short amount of time, because we're capping it at a number as well as a date. So if you haven't purchased your subscription box by, wasn't it the 20th? November 20th?
Yes, November 20th.
Then you're not going to have a chance.
It's going to be gone.
Have a chance at it unless you become a cult member.
We actually could even post pictures of some of the items that came in randomly in this year's. That way you guys can get an idea of what to expect. We do always pick new things, and there's always a theme every single time, but it all obviously is going to rate or go back to either cults, crimes, murder, Cabernet, always some kind of wearable, just so you know you're going to be getting some good stuff at this. Whitney and I absolutely love picking out the items from small businesses, local, to add to these boxes.
And those cult members we already have, take a picture with the stuff you've already gotten in your shirts, in your, with your stickers, whatever it is, whichever your favorite item was from our previous box. Take a picture, post on Instagram, tag us, share it. Let them see how great they are. They also come in really cool boxes that I hand blood splatter. And every time I drop them off at the post office, they look at me weird.
Yeah, we do that for you.
Yep. And we go that extra mile. So that's all we have.
What do you got as far as wine?
So I stepped out of my comfort zone today and went to a liquor store for wine as opposed to my local gas station. So I'm a whole new person today. Now, I did not spend very much on this. It was only a $12 bottle of wine. So let's not get excited.
Range. I feel like between 10 and 20 is our normal weekly.
It's about being affordable.
Yes.
We
got kids to put through college.
Exactly. And my kids eat a ton. So do your kids.
My kids,
Okay. So I got Estancia Cabernet Sauvignon. Like, I dropped back down to the cabs. This one says, we believe that the best wines capture the essence of their place of origin, and that is why we carefully nurture all 2,500 acres of our vineyards. Winemaking practices such as gentle pressing and small barrel aging create deeply concentrated and intensely flavored wines. Our Paso Robles Cabernet Sauvignon offers rich flavors of dark cherry, blackberry, and chocolate with a smooth, lingering finish. This wine is perfect to pair with a meal of braised short ribs or hard cheeses.
I love them, Cheez-Its.
Or hard cheeses like aged Gouda. And that's really what got me, is the Gouda, because Gouda is my favorite cheese.
I know.
Now, I'm going to give it a 4 knives.
Okay.
I'm not overly impressed with it, but I'm not underwhelmed with it.
Okay.
That's a good one. It's that good middle of the, if you just need one to drink one night, you're not looking for anything specific
or special
in a wine or special. Yeah. There you go.
All right. I like it.
Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and get in the case because
To
this one
Florida.
to Florida. So of course, like Florida, there was a menagerie of options
Yes,
out
you
there.
got a plethora.
Yes.
So many options.
So many options. So when I stumbled upon this one, and it was one of the top 5 mysteries of Florida, I was like, I'm in. You sold me, because I saw this picture and I was like, I don't know what's happening here. It's clay renderings of faces and or face masks. Like, you can't really tell from this picture, but that's what drew me in.
Yeah, but they all look so
Eerily
alike.
similar.
Yes.
I mean, maybe if I was like a facial reconstructive artist, I would see definitive differences, but they all look very much the same. There's 8 men. They're all brunettes. I think they put one with blue eyes, and all of them, the rest of them have brown eyes. Like, they have the chiseled jawline.
I was going to say, the jaw is what gets me
Uh-huh.
on all of them. They all have the square jaws.
They're all white. A couple look Hispanic. One looks a little bit native to me. The one in the bottom right corner looks a little bit maybe Native American heritage.
Yeah,
It's got that broad nose that some of the native peoples carry. But other than that, they all kind of look the same. So I wasn't really sure what was going on with this picture. And that's why I was like, yep, I need to learn more about this one. So it's based in Fort Myers, Florida. Fort Myers is a huge tourist attraction. Have you been there?
Florida for you.
Yeah, true. Have you been to Fort Myers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's located in the southwest tip of Florida. It has white sand beaches and was home to the winter estates of Thomas Edison and Henry Ford.
Ooh, la la.
Its population is around 87,000, probably closer to 9,000 at this point. That was the most, again, Wikipedia needs to get those 2020 stats out. We're needing them. Now, as a romantic, I found it sweet that Fort Myers received its name as an engagement present.
Oh.
General David Twiggs was the head of a small fort on a river when his daughter Marion fell in love with one of his staff officers by the name of Abraham C. Myers. Twiggs liked him and called the town Fort Myers to honor his future son-in-law.
Did they get married, though?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. You're like, bad breakup, and now we have to change the name of the whole town.
Dang it. Now it's called Fort Bad Choices.
Yes.
So I also found it interesting that Fort Myers has the highest total number of days with sun.
Oh.
Not Miami, not the Key West.
Okay.
Fort Myers, which it's, to me, I find that kind of interesting because it's, but I guess it doesn't really matter where it's at in Florida. The sun's the sun. I was thinking, like, shouldn't it be shadowed because it's like around the corner? No, Whitney, it shouldn't.
Around the corner. Yes.
So on March 23rd, 2007, it was a normal day for a land surveyor in sunny Florida. They were out exploring for new land to develop and wandered about 50 yards from the road when they stumbled upon human remains.
Okay.
Around 10 a.m., this surveyor called in to Detective Sergeant Jennifer Soto that they had found a human skull and a thick strand of melaleuca trees. And I don't know if I said that correctly. Melaleuca?
I don't know why I was thinking you were going to say a thick strand of hair or something.
Nope. Definitely.
I was like, oh God, this is going to be a graphic
Did I say strand?
One. I don't know. What did you say?
I thought I said stand.
Oh, I thought maybe. I don't know. We'll have to listen.
It doesn't matter.
But
yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So they found a human skull and a thick stand of melaleuca trees just off of Arcadia Road. Now, apparently this area is kind of a well-known dumping ground. Hunters dispose of animal remains out there because it's fairly remote, but not like so remote you can't easily access it. And between the heat, there's animal predation, weather. It's like everything that's all of the elements and things just come together right there to allow remains to decompose at alarming rates. Between humidities and animals like gators and all that, like it's just an easy place to get rid of stuff.
Does like the public know this? Like, and
I don't know
like,
that
hey,
it's like,
this is the best spot for me to dump this body.
I mean, it's not like people are going there every Tuesday and Thursday with their excess trash. It's just like, hey, I went hunting and I can't do anything with these gator guts in my backyard, but I can dump them out here.
Okay.
So like I gotcha. Some locals know, but it's not like it printed in the paper, you know? So upon arrival, Detective Soto and her partner confirmed that it was indeed a human skull. And it quickly led to the discovery of a second. And within minutes, a third was found.
Holy moly.
By 7 p.m., they had branched out a 200 square yard area and had a total of 8 skulls and more than 1,000 other bones.
Wow. That is insane.
Yep. Most had been hidden by roots, plants, leaves, just general ground cover. None of the bodies were buried. They were only dumped on top of the vegetation, and then vegetation kind of grew over them.
Mm-hmm.
Initial theories included one specific one, and I found this like disturbing for Florida, and that's hard to say because Florida's always got the crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the theories included funeral homes.
Oh, crud. What? That's not okay. We shouldn't think that's worse than these people being murdered.
But there'd been a history of a few funeral homes in the area defrauding families by taking their money for cremation and then just dumping their loved ones in vacant lots, the swamp, wherever they could, instead of actually cremating them.
It doesn't even cost that much to cremate a body, I would assume.
Like the cost of the actual process?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how much electricity or how much does it cost to heat up one of those ovens?
Oh, I don't know. I need to learn about this because now I'm like, do they keep it going all the time?
No.
Okay, they shut it off.
Yeah, but and like that's the big thing is more likely there's been a ton of funeral homes get in trouble for doing multiple bodies at once. Because it's supposed to be one body, one burn, one body, one burn, so that you get your actual
your ashes separate from other people's bodies.
But I know a lot of funeral homes have gotten in trouble for doubling up or tripling up. So I feel like it's got to cost a decent amount, which I mean, the temperature it takes to incinerate a human body is astronomical, especially to the point where bones are disintegrated. So I just don't see a funeral home dumping the body as opposed to just doing it. Like I would see them more, like I said, doing multiple bodies than okay, I don't know.
It's a little bit more hidden, like, hey, you're not going to be as exposed if you do the multiple bodies. Both are wrong.
Agreed. People. Like there is no correct. Like they're both terrible choices and terrible ideas. But I just feel like that's something that a funeral home would be more likely to do. Because I feel like if I'm backing up, dumping some bodies, I'm more likely to get caught.
Yes,
doing that than doubling up essentially in a crematorium.
I agree.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking all wrong. Either way, I'm opposed to both ideals.
Yes.
Now, over the next few weeks, a more meticulous search would be conducted. Several experts were called in, cadaver dogs. One of them was named Bones.
Oh.
One entomologist helped determine how long ago the bodies had been left there.
Okay.
All of them were based around mid-90s time, based on, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because of the weather, the gator, like the animals, like you can't determine how long a gator chewed on something or how long, you never know. So obviously it's approximate. Even a forensic dentist came to help. All but one of the victims had really good teeth and had obviously taken care of them. So they felt that these weren't all like transient or I hate that word. It's so like degrading, but they feel like they weren't homeless. They took good care of their teeth. You could tell they had at least brushed them at the very least. I don't think they found any like implants or anything that would quickly identify them because identification comes later in my story. But there was no massive cavities or, major oral issues with the teeth. So a forensic anthropologist from the Florida Gulf Coast University was invited in to map out the scene and predict where bones may have been carried away by groundwater moving through, especially when it flooded the area because it's still kind of a swampy area, or animals. But even without that, each skeleton was approximately 90% complete, which I am shocked by.
That is crazy.
The anthropologist helped to determine that all 8 skeletons were white males, perhaps some of them Hispanic, and their ages ranged between 18 to 49 years old. So all adult males. They were not able to discover the cause of death. So to me, that says a few things. There was no clear bullet wounds on bones. There was no clear like damage to, like the spine where maybe a neck had been snapped.
Or like blunt force trauma to the head.
Or stab wounds that nicked a bone. There was no clear cause of death based on the bone structure alone. So investigators also concluded fairly quickly that if this was a funeral home dumping bodies, they most likely would have been left kind of like one on top of another. So like they would have picked one spot, drugged them out of the van, dropped them, etc. And like a stack essentially.
Yeah.
But these were kind of spread out, although not very far from each other, maybe 50 feet or so from each other, just not right on top of each other. They also did not find any like medical paraphernalia that would be with the bodies as if they were cremated. There's usually a wristband or, some identifying marker on the body when it's at a funeral home. There was nothing like that. There was no clothing. So also they couldn't find any clothing. I don't know. It's just interesting. So of course, as one can imagine, the news broke fairly quickly, like real quick. And detectives asked the public if there are any missing persons to please notify the police, as they hoped to identify as many of the remains as possible. And within days, they had more than 50 families coming forward after taking hundreds of calls. Some bones were sent to a lab here in Texas to hopefully extract some DNA and potentially match them. The skulls, however, were shipped to Laramie, Wyoming, to this wonderful lady named SHARON Long. She works with the University of Wyoming, and she has degrees in both art and anthropology, and she studied under some very well-known people within those fields and learned about how to do facial reconstructions. If you've ever seen Bones, she's the Angela of Bones.
Oh, wow.
Is what when I was reading about her, like that's what immediately came to mind. So she would take the skulls and she would paint latex over them, peel the latex off without damaging the skulls, but would create these rubber molds of the skulls themselves. She would measure their teeth size. She said that if you measure the first 6 teeth, you can determine the size of the lips. Because if your teeth are wider, your first 6 teeth are wider, you're going to have thicker lips.
Really?
Which I found interesting.
Yes, that's super interesting.
She would measure the length of the nose bridge. And she said that noses are a bit tricky because they're mostly cartilage, and obviously that decomposes. But you can help learn how big the ears and eyes are based off the nose because they all grow at the same rate.
Oh, wow.
She was able to reconstruct all 8 skulls.
Okay.
That is the picture that I showed you at the beginning. They are clay reconstructions. She would put these eraser markers on like all the different features of the skull, like where they might have big cheekbones or they have this very strong jawline and things like that. And she was able to recreate these 8 men.
People are so freaking talented.
I know, like never in my mind. Never, golly. So once all the skulls had been recreated, she photographed them and they were released to media outlets. Now, obviously, these are a little bit difficult to determine who they are. Like they don't really look like any specific person. And like we already said, they all kind of look very similar. And so it's really hard to like distinguish, like that's my brother or that's my dad or that's my uncle. To me, I don't know that I could do a side by side and really take it from this clay figure and say that's my loved one.
Yeah.
Now, 8 months after the discovery, they were able to identify 2 of the remains through DNA. First one was Eric Kohler. He's here on the left side of the screen.
Do you have which one he was in that clay mock-up?
If you hadn't asked me.
I'm sorry.
I was going to add it in here. I'll show you later. I was going to add it in. I'm going to have to edit this out because I was so proud of this damn person.
No. I just was like, I wanted to see how close it matched.
Yeah. I wanted to add it in, but I thought I'd get off on a tangent on her.
Okay.
On
Sorry,
her skills. Yeah, I know. So this is Eric Kohler. There is also John C. Blevins. He was identified through DNA. There are no really good pictures of John Blevins. There was one, but it was very pixelated and it was very grainy. And actually, one of the articles that I read, it was on almost like a Reddit type forum, but it wasn't Reddit. Someone had posted it kind of on a personal blog, and I was just perusing it. And the father of John Blevins had commented and said, "That is not my son. Please take that picture down." And so they did retract that picture after that comment was there. Because I mean, honestly, the blogger was just doing what she just found a picture that she assumed was it,
Yeah.
what everyone else was reporting. But because the dad said that is not my son, he was confirmed as one of the victims, but that's not him. So I didn't feel right sharing that photo. That's why I have just a silhouette. Now, Eric Kohler and John Blevins were discovered. They were laid to rest by their loved ones. And in 2008, so a year after they have been discovered, Jonathan Tihey or Tahey, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. It's Tihay. I put it through Google Translate, and she also struggled with it, so I apologize for the pronunciation of that. He was Skull C. I can take you back to the picture if you want to look at them. But he was identified through a partial match to DNA from his sister, and then further confirmed through a hair match with his then deceased mother. So they were able to pull hair from her hairbrush, but the sister commented on that actual same Reddit, that same forum as the other John's father had, and said that they had planned to exhume her mother if they couldn't get enough DNA from her hairbrush. So I was surprised by that, because that's not something they do a lot. Hold on. This one here is C.
Okay. I can see it.
A little bit. I'm not good at it. I also struggle with the hair because I like focusing on the hair, but how are they going to know their hairstyle?
Hair. Yeah.
So, Jonathan had been missing since 1995. The other 5 have not been identified, and there are no active leads in this case.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to share this screen. These are the most recent renderings of the sketches. So they took those, which these are amazing.
These are amazing.
They took the clay renderings and brought them kind of into 2019 and created a more realistic sketch. It wasn't just, it's so hard to see in those clay models of what a real person would look like. And these are like, their eyes are so lively and they just pull you in.
Yeah.
This artist is amazing.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I'm going to share it all on our social media just in case someone recognizes them, because these are much more, I feel like, user friendly essentially than the clay renderings.
I agree.
So the main theory for the Fort Myers 8 is that they could potentially be victims of serial killer Daniel CONAHAN. Now, CONAHAN was convicted of 1 murder, but has been linked to over a dozen murders, mostly gay men, in Charlotte County, Florida, which is within 5 miles of where these bodies were found. I believe within 5 miles. Now I'm second guessing my research on that. It was most notably called the Hog Trail murders. However, this is what got me even further, is that one of CONAHAN's survivors, who was a star witness in his trial, his name is Stanley Burden. He had been attacked within a mile of the site where these skeletons were found. So much closer.
Oh, yeah.
Let me show you
do we know if the one that they identified, was he a gay man?
It's never come out one way or the other.
It's never. Okay. Okay. I was like, because if that's like his MO, and how, we don't know how these guys were killed. So,
and it did say mostly gay men. And if he's been connected to over a dozen, who knows how many it actually is. And if that was indeed his victimology, he may not only go after gay men.
Okay. Gotcha.
So his MO was to kidnap, torture, rape, and then strangle his victims. Ugh. The one person who he was convicted of murdering, he did brutally torture him. Went as far as cutting off his genitals and really just completely disfiguring him. There's a psychological problem with this person.
Holy crap.
As no cause of death was determined with the Fort Myers 8, it is widely speculated that they died of strangulation, because you're not going to see that on a bone unless it snaps your a portion of your spine.
Yeah.
Regular regular with by a hand. I don't want to call it regular. That's terrible.
Just the typical strangulation.
Yeah. What's it called? It's manual strangulation.
Manual.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah, definitely.
CONAHAN was arrested in 1996. The 3 remains that have been identified all had gone missing in 1995. So the timeline fits, at least for those 3.
Wow. Okay. Definitely fits.
So CONAHAN is currently housed at the Union Correctional Institution in Rayford. I believe that's how you pronounce that, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my call to action on this episode is a little bit different than others, because it's not just, don't just call, don't just call, because if you may not know, it's a picture. That's all we have to go off of right now. But remember that they do have DNA to match this too. So if you know someone who went missing, if you're related to someone who you haven't talked to since the mid-90s that may or may not be in the Florida area, especially around Fort Myers, call. Have them do a DNA swab. Send them a DNA swab.
Super
you
simple.
Never know. It's a Q-tip to the cheek at most.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too late to identify these remains. All 3 of these identified victims have living relatives, and you just need to begin the conversation with Fort Myers Police Department. Now, their phone number is 239-321-7700. And I just feel like with DNA the way it is now, it should be pretty easy to find a family member of these people, of these remains.
I agree.
And that's Florida.
Awesome. That was a good one for Florida. I have never heard of it before, which is also exciting. I love it when I hear about new cases. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I thought it was different. And also for it to be 8 remains. There's no way they're not tied together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way it was like 8 separate murderers dumping in the same spot.
Do you know what we should do as our call to action?
Yes.
Send to this dude a letter, the prison guy.
Okay.
See if he will respond to us and confess everything.
Let's do it. How do we send him money to his commissary? Like we will
send him money?
Wow, we'll buy you Doritos if you will give us info.
Okay, well, yeah, let's talk to him first, or like try to get some and be like, hey, we'll do this for you.
Let's do it.
If you tell us about these other murders. He's already, how long did he get in prison? Is he there forever?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got life.
All right, so who freaking cares?
I didn't dig into his case much. Yeah. I mean, every article I read tied it back to him. Like,
did it?
It was the timeline fits. It's where he's from, or like like that's his hunting grounds. It's too coincidental.
It is.
For there to be
I have all the questions.
Yeah, for there to be 2 serial killers on one spot. No,
the guy that he was convicted of actually killing, was he a white guy with brown hair and brown eyes?
I believe so.
Oh, see, yeah.
But these all weren't necessarily white men. They think one of them may be Hispanic.
Yeah.
Maybe even a couple of them Hispanic, but they were men.
Definitely.
And they fit the demographic. They were men in the age range.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. That was a good case.
Yeah. So until Wednesday, Melissa has a really good one for her Florida Wines Day. So stay tuned for it on Wednesday. And until then, kindness only.
Kindness always.